Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Well, it's good evening here in Spain, because here in Spain it's 8 o'clock in the evening, but wherever you're watching from, might be morning where you are, or it might be the afternoon. Anyway, I hope you've had a good whatever. God, I'm already getting up because I can see there's a lot of you out there, so I'm like a little bit nervous. But yeah, thank you for being here anyway. So anybody who's new to this channel, my name is Vicky. This channel is Vicky Marie Chats. We chat about all sorts of things, mainly true crime, but not only true crime. And tonight, what we're going to talk about is something that's like an ongoing theme from a case that was so famous all across the world last year, the case of Nicola Bulley. Nicola Jane Bulley took her dog for a walk after dropping her 2 daughters off at school and vanished, and was found 3 weeks later in the river in St. Michael's-on-Wyre in the north of the UK. And since then, it's just been... Anyway, to cut a very, very, very long story short, I've got a Nicola Bulley playlist. If you want to catch up on the whole case, be prepared for, strap yourself in. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Anyway, when she was finally found, and then at the inquest later that last year, it was found that she died an accidental death. And then there was inquiries into the investigation, and later on that year, when the College of Policing report came out, that also is in my playlist, the whole report in sections because it's hard to take it all in at once. A dive expert, or he calls himself an expert, who had been helping in the search, suddenly Peter Faulding suddenly dropped a bombshell that in fact he had found Nicola in the river, even though throughout the 3 weeks that she was missing and certainly the time he was there searching for her, he insisted she definitely wasn't in the river. So since then, it's, that was really, the more I think about that, it was one of those really divisive moments, because up till then, anybody who'd been seeking justice for Nicola Bulley, people who, thought there was some foul play involved in her death, split completely, nothing to do with Nicola Bulley, just like whether you believe Peter Faulding, even though he never backed it up with any evidence, still hasn't backed it up with any evidence, whether you believe Peter Faulding really did find Nicola, or whether you don't believe Peter Faulding really found Nicola. And people that previous to that had a common goal, which was to find out what really had happened to Nicola, even though lots of, we all had different theories, didn't we? And on this chat, I can see that I normally say hello to everyone, but I may not have time to say hello to everyone tonight because there's so many people here. But, we all we all cared about Nicola, and we wanted to find out what had really happened to Nicola. We weren't convinced that it was accidental death. But then suddenly everyone was split as to whether they believed whether Peter had found her or whether he hadn't found her. And if he had found her, why did he not say that at the time and never said a dicky bird until sort of the College of Policing report came out, which criticised him very heavily, which, my own personal opinion, is exactly why he did it, because he's trying to salvage his reputation. But a lot of people don't think that. So what I just want to say, if you're new to my chat, we do respect each other's opinions. We've all got different opinions in this chat, and that's fine. And we don't attack each other because of our opinions. We don't call each other stupid or anything like that. We just respect the fact that we do have different opinions. So be courteous in the chat, be nice, but have your opinion, say what you think. Nobody's going to say to you, you shouldn't think that, well, if they do, and certainly if they're nasty to either you or me, don't be nasty to me either. You know, just you can say what you think without being nasty, but and the chat is for that, of course, so that people like to talk about this case because there's so much controversy about it, so much mystery about it still. And the Peter Faulding thing, that's just one thing, you know, amongst the, you know, millions of things that are sort of strange or open to discussion, or, you know, so, you know, chat away, give your opinions. Some people will agree. You'll find probably whatever opinion you put in the chat, someone will agree with you and other people won't. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight, because just last week landed in my email box an email from someone who said that they're an ex-employee of Peter Faulding. And we've had a little bit of back and forth. They've sent me some pictures, you know, what they've tried to let me know as much as they can without, because they want to be anonymous. And you'll see why when I read the emails out to you and the back and forth that we've had, and I show you the pictures, etc. We'll be able to see why they want to remain anonymous. But then it's up to you to decide, do you believe them or don't you believe them? And, you know, on the basis of what I've seen, I would, you know, I can't say 100% that I believe them, because, you know, they are anonymous at the end of the day. But just, anyway, you'll tell me what you think. So I don't want you to think what I think. You know, I want you to make your own minds up. But one thing that I do want to say that I found really interesting, because some of the comments that I saw before I started the live were like, well, oh, I hope this person has provided evidence. And, you know, I understand that, because of course you want evidence. But don't forget, Peter Faulding has not provided any evidence. It's funny, isn't it, how people expect evidence from some people, but other people, it doesn't matter. Oh, well, Peter said it, so it must be true. You know, without any evidence whatsoever to back up what Peter has claimed. He has not backed it up with any evidence. So, you know, that's what I would say about Peter. Always remember that. It's not, I want to say as well, I have no personal grudge against Peter. Until all this came out, I've always championed Peter, believed everything he said, trusted him implicitly. And, you know, based most of my theories on what had happened to Nicola Bulley on what he said, you know. So it was really galling then in the end to sort of hear him say something completely different, you know. And as much as I think Peter does do good work, I do think there's a lot of things about Peter that don't add up. And the more you look into it, as we'll see tonight, the more you'll realise what I mean. But that does not take away from the good things that he has done or does. I'm just saying that in this particular case, I do not believe him. That's my opinion, because there's no evidence. The day that Peter shows me some evidence, then I will believe him 100%. Just like this person who says that he used to work for Peter Faulding, I'd say I believe him about 80%. But, you know, there's always the other 20%. And I did put in the thumbnail, allegedly. So everything that I bring up here, I'm just telling you what they've told me, showing you some of the evidence to back it up that they've provided. And then, of course, like everything else, every video that I ever do, once you start looking into things, you end up with all sorts of other things that you didn't know before. That's such a brilliant thing about life, isn't it? You just don't know everything, do you? You think you do, but certainly by the time I got to my advanced age, you think, you know, I thought I knew it all at 18. It's weird, isn't it? You know, when you're 18, you really do think you know it all, and you know absolutely nothing. And then as you get older and the more you learn, the less you think you know, if that makes sense, because there's always more out there to learn, always. So I've learned a lot researching into this video, a lot of things that I didn't know before. Very interesting. So first of all, as I always do, for those of you who've not seen the channel before, I normally light a candle at the beginning of a video. And of course, the candle is for normally either the person I'm talking about, if it's a true crime thing, you know, maybe it's a missing person, maybe it's somebody who unfortunately is deceased. I've got the fan on, the ceiling fan, so it keeps blowing out. But I always light a candle, even for all of us who need a prayer, you know, which quite often, you know, you don't have to be, you know, just normal life means that you often need a prayer. I don't know if that's going to go out because the bloody fan's on. But so not only though that I am lighting that candle for Nicola Bulley, but I just want to, there's two other people in particular that I'm lighting it for. Oh, thank you for putting your candles. Yeah, put your candles up because on the chat, because we're lighting this candle now for Nicola Bulley. But we're also, because what will come up in here is, and this is a boy who's been forgotten, you know. So this is a little boy who fell into another river, into the river Soar. Cielo, we never know how to pronounce it, but it's Xielo. In Spanish, I would pronounce it Cielo, which means heaven, funnily enough, in Spanish. Whether it means the same, I don't know, in Cielo's, you know, in their in his language. I mean, they're British, but where they came from, maybe Cielo is, or maybe it is a Spanish name, I don't know, but it means heaven or sky in Spanish, but it's spelt with a C, not an X. And so he fell into the river. Let me put my glasses on because I've got my list here, you know, and I've got very bad lighting here. So this is in the River Soar that he fell into in Leicester in the UK, and this is Cielo Maruziva. And of course, this is one of the people that Peter and the Specialist Group International, Peter's, you know, side scan sonar went to help to look for, but he has not been found, which is very, very sad, because you just feel that one day he will be found, or he's close, you know, there won't be much left of him, bless him, poor little mate. But let's hope, I mean, you know, his clothes are found, or something's found, or his bones, you know, and something for his family to put to rest. So sad that he hasn't been found yet. And the other person that I want to light the candle for is a person that we're now, I was absolutely gobsmacked when somebody sent me, which is Blank Faces, who is on the chat at the moment, sent me a tweet. And I'm going to show that actually first, because I did not know this, that Peter had helped out apparently. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Can't find it. Where is it? Lanks PCC. Hang on. That Peter Faulding apparently helped out in this case. Because Peter went to recently to, now this wasn't on the Specialist Group International. I don't know about you, Blank Faces, but I couldn't find this on any of the specialists of Peter's, you know, I couldn't find this on any of Peter's accounts. But anyway, it was on the Forensic Experience, and earlier this week I was a guest. So the Forensic Experience was a guest speaker for the National Women's Register with Peter Faulding, a forensic search and rescue expert and who owns Specialist Group International. He shared many of his experiences that we're all very familiar with, including the disappearance of Nicola Bulley. So he is still talking. He's not talking about her on Facebook or anything like that anymore. It's all gone very quiet. And not only that, his fans have gone quiet because he has been ignoring them, blocking them, deleting them. Anyway, so maybe he'll pop up again, who knows. So he shared many of his, so the removal of environmental activists, Swampy, from the Newbury bypass site. He also helped on the cases of serial killer Peter Tobin, the honour murder of Banaz Mahmood. Now, this is what I'm referring to. Totally gobsmacked me, because Banaz Mahmood, it's really odd, because just over this past couple of weeks, well, for ages, I've been thinking I've got to do this case of Banaz. When I first heard of Banaz's case, it absolutely broke my heart, because this girl was only 20 and she was murdered by her own family. And not only murdered, but she was raped and murdered by the men that her family, her own family, had paid to murder her and put in a suitcase. But the worst thing of all is that she had been to the police 5 times to ask for help. She'd been to there's videos of her in the police, interview rooms, begging for help and saying to them, if anything ever happens to me and I turn up dead, it's them who's done it. She was begging for help, but she never got any help. And at 20 years old, her own family killed her. So when I saw that he was involved in that, so that's what's led me to look at other things. And I want to show you a photo of her, or some photos of her as well. So this is Banaz. And the thing about Banaz is, you'll see when I am going to do a video about her. This is, I've been wanting to for ages, but obviously it's an older case, and other cases always come up. But it's so sad, and she's just seemed so sweet, so innocent. Her crime was she fell in love with somebody else. They married her off at the age of 19. Her husband was horrible, and he RAP'd her on a regular basis. He beat her. So when she wanted to leave him and she fell in love with somebody completely different, she was Kurdish. Kurdish origin. She was from London. She had a London accent. She fell in love with somebody else, and of course the family did not approve of him. So that was it. She was signed a death warrant, really. But they inveigled her back to the house. She left. She left a few times, and every time the family, she had, her own mother. Her mother didn't receive any sentence, but do you know what? Her mother knew about it. Her mother should have received a sentence too, but her father, her uncle, anyway, I won't go into that story. That's for another day. But that's who the candle for as well is for Banaz. It makes me cry just think about, because it just how she was let down by the people that she should have been able to count on, her own family, for God's sake. And you'll see when you watch being interviewed, when I do the video, she's so sweet and innocent. So anyway, so apparently he was involved in that case as well. So I found out all those things, and we're going to look at some of those things as we go along. Right, let me get back on track now. So the first thing I want to, so before I start, I just want to show you something that came up on Facebook. Let's see. So as I say, on Facebook, on the Facebook groups, like the Nicola Bulley groups that have been, not all of them, but some of them are so pro Peter Faulding, terrified to say anything against him, because then, they just get really sort of arsey about it all. Hang on. But even they have noticed they're starting to be sort of less, what's the word, less, they're realizing, because they're the people that are getting banned. They're getting banned or from his, I was banned ages ago, but, these are people that haven't not done anything except we just asked him a question. you know, like, oh, any news on the sonar images or blah, 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 blah. And, you know, they've been sort of, anyway. And this came up, and this is irritating because, of course, there's a lot of anonymous posts on these things. I hate the anonymous posts. I understand sometimes why people want to be anonymous. I honestly do. But it's just then it sort of destroys the credibility a little bit, because if they're anonymous, how do you know that what they're saying is true? But anyway, whoever this person is said, thank you for letting me voice my opinion about the sonar images. I was sent them without even asking. So this is what they're saying. Again, you've got to take it with a pinch of salt. It's an anonymous member. I don't really know how anonymous members work. I mean, does it mean the admins know who they are? If somebody, you know, or are they anonymous even to the admins? I don't know. Maybe you know. Thank you for letting me voice my opinion about the sonar images. I was sent them without even asking. So what, you know, he is sending. The problem I have with Peters is sending them all over the place. You know, to the psychic, to YouTubers, he's showing them to police, he's showing them to his friends. But we still haven't had any proper expert verification of them. So, you know, that is my problem with him. I think that's fair enough, don't you know? All of you that want evidence of this person that I'm going to talk about, is an ex-employee of Peter Faulding, according to him. First thing you're saying is, oh, well, where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? Well, where's the evidence from Peter Faulding? Where is it? Anyway, so what this person says again could be true, could not be true. From what I saw, the first image I was sent seemed like the original image, and I couldn't see a figure. When I was sent the rest, which seemed enhanced, well, enhanced, they've said. I think Peter will definitely have enhanced that image by now. Then I sort of could only the bum and legs, not the top half resembled a body. From what I've seen, I would not say there was a body on that riverbed. Think what you will of it. Take it or leave it. You know, at the end of the day, it's an anonymous post. But we have not received any official confirmation. So it doesn't matter what a psychic says or a YouTuber says or anyone says. No official, the only official confirmation, if you like, that's been sought about that image was what the police sought for it, and that came back that it wasn't. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute, because as I was looking through all this, I found a Spanish article about it, which was very interesting. Anyway, the next thing I just want to look at before we go into the actual email, the first email that I got from the guy who says he worked for Peter. The next thing I want to look at, I just want to remind you of what Peter was saying at the time. Okay, this is a typical video of the time when Peter was saying she was definitely not in the river.
Peter, thank you very much. There are loads of unanswered questions to do with this. You are obviously trying to answer them. You have now presumably completed another day searching. Do you think she's in the river?
Again, Patrick, I don't want to speculate over this again. I don't want to be one of the speculators. It's a difficult one. We have conducted searches downriver yesterday, and we've searched the area where the police divers originally searched. I mean, let's go wind the clock back a bit. When Nicola went missing on the day, the police divers were deployed into the river here to search. And normally, if somebody drowns, they go straight to the bottom. And that's in my 20 odd years of experience of dealing with drowning victims, you know, done the hundreds of cases. Now they go to the bottom, the river's slow moving, they won't go far, but the police divers are very professional, did not even find her then. And that's the weird thing.
A lot is being made of, oh, okay, this is a tidal river in parts, and, you know, it's shallower in certain areas, it's deeper in others. I think there are quite a lot of people who really are struggling to believe that if she was in there now after such extensive searches as you've said, that she wouldn't have been found.
Yeah, I mean, there's a weir just down from the bench where I'm standing now where Nicola's phone was found and the dog harness. And the police divers have been in again today, but we've been using high frequency side scan sonar in this stretch today. And it's so detailed, I can even see every stone of it. She's not in this stretch. We also sonared the other side down yesterday in the tidal river. Now, if you take a football on a tidal river, and anyone who works on the Thames will confirm this, you throw a football in when the ebbing tide, when the tide goes out, the ball will go down the stream, and then as soon as the tide turns, it will come back in again. It'll end up back at the same place. We see dead animals doing that in rivers when we search. So for Nicola to get out the sea would be impossible, literally. It's such a long way in the 11 days. It's an awful long way down. And there's also lots of shallows. Over the weir, it's very shallow. It's all stones, even if the river level was up slightly. So I don't know.
No, and look, I understand absolutely that you don't want to speculate. I'm sure our viewers and our listeners there can read into what you're saying. I mean, it's difficult not to speculate when it does simply seem to boil down to an issue at the minute, which is she in the river or not? And taking at face value everything that you've said there, it does look increasingly unlikely that she is. The police did issue that conference earlier on. And Peter, I don't know if you saw it. I think you might have been there actually, but they did say basically, look,
I was working. No, I was working.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah. But they did say that with respect, you're not necessarily in possession of all of the full facts or any more information than any normal member of the public. What did you make of that?
Well, if there's any more facts that we don't know about, I mean, normally we work along the side of the police, and if you haven't got the facts, then you can't conduct a proper search. It's very difficult without that information. Normally, I'm privy to that information on a lot of these searches. I'm dealing with a lot of classified work, and obviously I don't ever speak about that. But this is, if there's more information, I certainly don't know about it, which it would be useful to know.
I can imagine, yes, absolutely. There are as well some strange things perhaps that don't seem to add up in this case. And for example, you seem to be saying that the bench itself wasn't a particularly secured area. There wasn't a load of police tape around it. There are issues with the dog as well. I mean, why it wasn't behaving in a more erratic way or more worked up, for example. Do you have a look at this particular operation now and identify some elements to this that don't seem to add up for you?
I don't know honestly about the police operation. I mean, the police were here on day one with the underwater search team, and it was, to be fair here, if it's a crime scene, then the area's sealed off as a crime. When you work on a drowning, which this is, then you would tape the area off anyway. Normally you tape an area off and keep the public away, because you're dealing with a drowning, a search operation where the public shouldn't be allowed because they don't want to see what you're going to recover. So yeah, I've said about the decoy. What I said is,
yeah, it was him who said about the decoy. Honestly, never mind. So look how still that water is, though. We've always been. It always intrigues me that look at it. I mean, it's how I know. Maybe it wasn't always like that. Maybe sometimes it was flowing more rapid, but whenever I know sometimes they had to get out of that dinghy or whatever it is, that boat, and push it, and walk, because there wasn't always enough water. That's why, of course, one of the many reasons why this case always seems sort of suspicious. One, there's no flow in the river, and two, it is very shallow, very easy to, one of the police, didn't they say it was one of the clearest rivers they'd ever worked in? If
Nicola is not here anywhere where we can't find her, then I've worked on cases where a phone has been, not a phone, we found a stiletto shoe by a river once on a search of murder up north near Scunthorpe, Alston Ferry, and the shoe was laid by the river by the murderer to detract the search from that area, and she was actually found in a haystack miles away. And that's the reason I said that, you know, if she's not here and there's no sign of her anywhere over the...
You know, it really was Peter who started all the talk about a decoy, you know, which of course then Paul Ansell talked about as well. But it was after he'd been talking to Peter. Now, you know, Paul Ansell is another sort of, we just, who knows what I don't know if we'll ever find out whatever actually happened to Nicola. But imagine if, you know, like a part of the reason that everyone suspected Paul was because of the way he spoke. But a lot of the things he was saying were things that Peter had told him. That's why the family don't speak to Peter, because, and God knows what they think now after he's come out with the latest load of rubbish that he came out with.
Next few days, then I can understand why people are speculating about this. You know, you've got to keep an open mind on this type of inquiry. But obviously, if the police have got more information than I know about, then you know, that will be useful a lot of the time on extra information. It helps you with the search, but that might not be important information.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense, wouldn't it, to give the chap with the world-class sonar technology the opportunity to try to use that to the best of his abilities. I mean, that would seem quite an obvious thing there. Can I just ask you a couple of quick ones, if that's all right? I've had viewers getting in touch saying, just how deep is the river exactly where the police seem to think that Nicola went in? And also, how did you come to be involved in this search? Did the family get in touch with you? How did it work?
Right, so it went out about where Nicola went in, just off from the bank, is about 4 meters. So that a deep pipe, so deep enough to drown, but also a big trough and deep enough to go in, which the police thoroughly searched with their divers, wasn't there, and searched down the river. How did we get involved? Well, this search has been going on. Whenever somebody goes missing, we get lots of requests to our control room to assist. Now, we don't call the police because we cover police diving operations for Kent, Essex, Surrey, Sussex, Thames Valley and Hampshire Police. So we are the official dive team. So we get called on emergency calls and deal with it straight away. Now, in this particular case, this is not our area. So we got lots of calls through control. Can you help this family? So we contacted the family through social media, and then they requested us through the police. And then later on that afternoon, the police agreed that we could come up and assist them, and we've been working closely ever since. And that's how we actually got involved with this inquiry. All right, just one final one very quickly, Peter.
Yeah, now that's interesting, isn't it? Because remember, initially everyone was thinking that Paul or Emma had seen him on the TV and phoned him. No, do you know what? Mark Williams Thomas and him, they got in touch with the family, and this comes up in the information that the guy that I'm going to tell you about, who says he worked for Peter, was Peter and Mark Williams Thomas that contacted the family, not the family that contacted Peter. It was, you know, Peter was dying to get in on this case because it was high profile. Just, I tell you, you know, if you look at things in a different way, it's funny how you see things sometimes, the way that you see them, and once you start looking at it from another aspect, another angle, you can't go, you know, you see so much more clearly.
Well, I'll start if you don't mind. Just a bit press of time. Just a bit press of time. So, are you going to be searching for a good number of days, or are you going to draw a line under this at some point and say, "Look, I think enough's enough now"?
Yeah, we'll probably be here for the next couple of days, Patrick, just to iron everything out. I want to be sure to put my name to this search, that, you know, we've checked everything. I'm very thorough, and I want to make sure we've done the most thorough job and try and bring some form of closure or confirm or deny the river to the family and the police.
So there you go. So that's the third time that we've heard something different about who actually you know, who actually put them in touch with each other. Because first of all, it was Emma or Paul, and somebody said it was Martin Brunt. I think it was Peter in another interview said it was Martin Brunt, because I found that that was in a video that I did where Peter said it was Martin Brunt. Now it turns out Peter's saying, oh, do you know what I mean? That is just typical of this case, though, isn't it? You know, everything in the Nicola Bulley case is conflicting information. So, okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to look at the first email that landed in my email box last week. And I'm going to read it out to you because I'm not showing you the email, because although it's sort of anonymous, if you like, or from an anonymous email, there might be people out there who know how to find. I mean, I wouldn't have a clue how to find out where an email came from or whatever, but I know it can be done. So I don't want to get this person into trouble, because what you have to remember is, anyway, you'll understand when I read out the email. In fact, I can show. So what I've done is I've copied and pasted all the interaction I've had with this person, including my reply. Here's the email, my reply. Now, you know, if you want to say maybe I might have changed it, maybe I did. Well, I didn't. And I think you know me well enough to know that I hadn't. Because if I would have changed it, I would have made it more thingy. So anyway, I'm just going to read it to you. This is all I know. And then I'm going to show you the photos that this person sent me. And you decide then. Now, I have asked them for further. To be honest, I only really thought about it today. I have asked them if there's anything they can show. It's difficult, isn't it? What can they show without their name on or their photo? And they have sent me a photo. The photo that I'm going to show you, they're on it, but there's also 9 other men on it. So you don't know which person it is. I hope Peter don't work it out. Maybe there is someone that's out to get Peter. You know, and you know, my disclaimer would be, you always got to be aware that even if it was a genuine ex-employee, ex-employees can be bitter, you know, maybe because they were laid off, because according to this person, a lot of them were laid off during COVID. You know, and that makes sense. They might just be wanting to get even with Peter, but would they still be wanting to get even with him after all this time? But I don't know. It's possible, isn't it? Or maybe everything he says is true. So I'm just going to present everything to you. You make your own mind up. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm like 80-90% certain that this person, he comes over as genuine to me. But maybe he isn't. So you've got to decide that. Just like you've got to decide whether you think Peter Faulding is genuine, saying about that an image that he's never provided any evidence for. So he started off, because I don't know if you remember, but the last email, sorry, not email, the last video I did about Peter, I was saying, why has all Peter's fanboys and girls sort of been blocked and deleted? And then I looked at we looked at Peter's website together, the Specialist International website. And he's still saying that he's authorized by the police, you know, and I tried to find out if he was on the National Crime Agency list or not. We watched that. If you watch that video, they weren't forthcoming with any information. So that's the trouble with Britain. It's the honest to God, you can't find out anything. There's no sort of disclosure. Why would the list be secret of who they use, you know, to help with police inquiries, you know, if they haven't got a specialist team to deal with something? You know, why would they? That's the chihuahua out there. Stop. Stop. Come on, I'm going to have to bang the stop. So, yeah, I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, why wouldn't they divulge that list? Why is it secret? Why is it secret? Because, or even I just asked, is Peter Faulding still on it? He could just say no, surely. So I have to give him the whole list of everybody who's on it. But no, because this is Stalinist Britain. Everything's a secret. There's no, everything's lip service in Britain. They have a Freedom of Information Act. Oh yes, you can always ask under the Freedom of Information Act. We won't tell you, but you can ask. Of course you can. You're free to ask, but you won't get any information from us. Anyway, so this is what's prompted him to send this email, because I said I think he's back on the list, because on his website he's saying virtually that he is. He's the only dive team that's authorised to help the police, according to him. We're going to look at the website in a minute. So the first thing this person, guy, it is a guy because there were only men on the photo that he says is one of these people. Vicky, hi, I'd like to introduce myself. I am a former SGI employee who worked with Peter Faulding for over 10 years. I am one of many who are of similar feelings about him, some who are still working at SGI in Dorking. Can I first say that your assumption that Peter Faulding has returned to the National Crime Agency or police is totally incorrect? So that's telling me, it's like, you're incorrect, you're talking a load of rubbish. But anyway, since February last year, with the exception of Zielo Maruziva, he has not had any diving or search jobs with the police. He is still very much banned by the National Crime Agency and all of the UK police forces. Now, I just want to say now that I don't know, even Peter Faulding might be watching this, but certainly some of his little minions and fanboys and girls will be watching it. I'm 100% certain. If Peter wants to put his case across, I'm quite happy for him to do that. If he wants to dispute what this man is saying, because he goes on to say quite a lot of things. And, if Peter wants to dispute that, well, he doesn't have to interact with me personally. He can just send me an email or something. Stop it. Stop it. In the Cielo case, he very much used his previous tactics to approach the family through his media journalist sources. That's Mark Williams Thomas, I would imagine, and pressure them to have his company used. Now, I actually saw that happen in Facebook. It was like, oh, come on, come on, all of you, write to such and such, write to the police, write to the newspapers. It's about time they got Peter on this case. Peter will come in and save the day and find Zielo. And there was a lot of pressure put on. And then somebody contacted Zielo's family. And next minute, the family are putting out Facebook posts saying, oh, we want Peter Faulding and Specialist Group International to deal with this. And the pressure that was put on the police, the thing is, you get backed into a corner. So what's the police going to say? No, we're not having Peter here. And then there's a little boy, missing, a two-year-old boy missing in the river. It sounds then churlish for the police to say, no, he can't come. So in the end, some sort of deal was made. And then Peter and Specialist Group International, which had all been like, oh, well, come on, we can't just turn up there with the police has got to ask us. And they sort of put pressure on all their fans and everything to put pressure on the police. And anyway, got his way, and I'm glad he did, because the more the merrier for helping to find Zielo. To me, I was quite happy for him to go, but of course he did not find Zielo. It made absolutely no difference, because the police teams that were searching for him were already good enough. He's no better than the police. He's thinking, he might say he is, but he's not. But he was an extra pair of hands. It was an extra boat that was there, extra sonar or whatever. So it was good, but it made no difference. They did not find Zielo. And after 3 days, when the media attention sort of diminished, he was off. Anyway, so the police had no choice but through his and pressure them to have his company used. The police had no choice but to allow him in, but under a very tight observation. Now, he did say that himself, or on the SGI, they said they cannot talk about it at all. I expect that was a definite requirement. Well, you can come, but you must not talk to the media. Peter Faulding stayed 3 days and then left after media reporting fizzled out. With a lot of the families, he would make many wild claims, criticise the ongoing police investigation. Bear in mind, this is what they're saying. I'm just, don't shoot the messenger. And create a narrative that he could introduce expertise and equipment that the police could not. This has been, I think he means stay there, his overall tactic for many years with other searches, including Nicola Bulley and Nicola Payne. Peter Faulding's motivation has always been publicity for himself only. Peter is self-taught. He has no previous training in investigations, forensics, searching, side scan sonar, ground penetrating sonar, rescue, crime scene management, or anything police related. Again, don't shoot the messenger. This is what this guy is saying. He is a basic HSE scuba diver, having only completed a professional scuba course. He pretends to be a world-leading expert, but he has no qualifications or training to back it up. Ask him to show you anything, he can't. And he just blocks anyone who's asking. So, yeah, Peter, show us the evidence. Where are your qualifications? Where are your qualifications for all these things that you say you're an expert in? How he got onto the NCA list is simple. He was dubious friends with certain senior police officials, and over the years he bullshitted his way onto their database. Once he was due diligence during the MB case, they found out the above and threw him off. Currently, SGI is about 3 employees strong, with 2 office workers and a sort of security control room with a security guard watching CCTV. Previously, his team was 18 strong, but during COVID, he made 15 redundant, which is fair enough. I mean, it must have been difficult during COVID. As a result of the MB search, he lost his police contracts, fire service call-outs, and a few others. The technicians that remain don't do any dive work, nor assist emergency services, and generally just help out on the Peter Faulding farm miles away. What happened at the MB search, from current employees who told me, PF was desperate to get onto the search as it had hit the national spotlight. He had tried to contact the police direct, but they declined, saying they had their own resources. As a result, Peter, with his media friend Mark Williams Thomas, directly approached the family. Over the course of several days, they put pressure on the police. Where am I? So during the course of several days, they put pressure on the police, and eventually the police agreed. Peter had already been on TV with his numerous appearances, and he had already been on TV, criticising the police. Remember, I've mentioned that in other videos, so no wonder the police weren't really very glad to see him when he turned up, because he'd already been on as many news channels as he could, and especially like when you think about the things he'd been on, like GB News, they're hybrids, aren't they? They're not proper mainstream media, but they pretend to be. And yeah, he was on like the Jeremy Kyle show, wasn't he? And with Dan Wootton, or he was on so he was on he was making a lot of TV appearances criticising the search. Peter then announced on Facebook he was going up, and the team with 3 vehicles arrived. They were put up locally by the family. Well, it was by Emma, wasn't it? And Peter arrived later in his helicopter. Of course, he made a grandstand entrance. Oh, he could, he couldn't just go in his in the van with everybody else. He landed, went with his helicopter. He likes to make an entrance, Peter. We're going to have a look at that in a minute. The circus came to town that day, and Peter started doing numerous media interviews. In the background, Mark Williams Thomas was out looking for sources and stories. He had then approached the family directly after finding out from a relative that Nicola had some previous mental health issues. He threatened to do a story with the newspapers. Now, I heard this at the time, this rumour, that, that's why the police, remember, the police suddenly came out with these vulnerabilities and everybody got criticised. The police got criticised. But I had heard that at the time, that somebody had threatened to sell the story or go to the newspapers. And I did hear a rumour it was Mark Williams Thomas, but it wasn't. It was a rumour. It was no more than that. And so suddenly the police realised they had to release this information, because otherwise it was going to come out in the media. He threatened to do a story with the newspapers unless he was given exclusive access. Now, you tell me whether you believe that or not. I personally do, because I think that's exactly what Mark Williams Thomas would do. The family told the police, and that's why they released the details in the news. Disgraceful behaviour by Mark Williams Thomas. Now, maybe that's where all this bad blood started then between Peter and the family as well. All along, Peter knew, and with the numerous TV appearances, including ITV London shows, he took it upon himself to make senior investigator. The employee tells me the subsequent searches using side-scan sonar were conducted very poorly, as Peter wasn't interested really. The dive team sat around doing nothing, as he wanted to be seen using his boat, plus towfish. After only 2.5 days, the whole team left, saying they couldn't find anything, and Nicola was not there. This really pissed the other employees off, as they knew the search was badly conducted, and later we know what happened. Again, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just reading out what this gentleman said. Subsequently, the Nicola find in the same waters the Specialist Group International had been totally destroyed his reputation and threw massive doubt on Peter's credibility. He was inundated with social media abuse, and the police were not impressed. Days later, they threw him off the National Crime Agency and all UK forces for support. Peter has then had to create a massive narrative to try and cover up his incompetence and other lies. We have seen this since. So I wanted you to know, and I'm happy to speak further, but I want to be anonymous, as he is a vindictive man. Okay, so in a minute, I'm going to read out, how the emails went from there. That was the first email that dropped in my email box. And he sent some photos. So I'm going to show you the photos. Okay. So, right, where am I going to find the photo? Right, where do I start? So these are photos, I presume, that this guy has taken. Let's see. I'm just showing you what he sent me. So this will be one from his life jacket campaign, which even the guy that says he was Peter's ex-employee and is, you know, not happy with him says that is one good thing that he's done. So these are just photos. Let me just make sure they're showing. Yeah, this, you know, it just makes me laugh when, you know, anyway, never mind. I know that in some of the comments people say, oh, well, you know, it's just someone who's anonymous. Please tell me what Peter is. I know Peter's not anonymous, but if Peter is saying that he's seen Nicola Bulley on the bottom of the river, but he's not providing any evidence, what is the difference? Why does Peter say that and people believes him? How can you believe him without evidence? I agree. Evidence is necessary, but it's not only necessary from this guy, it's necessary from Peter as well. You know, I could turn around tomorrow and say, oh, yeah, you know, I saw Nicola Bulley. I met her. I chatted to her. I went for a drink with her. You know, it's just really strange that the people that ask for evidence are the people that implicitly believe that what Peter says is true without any evidence. So anyway, yeah, so he's just sent some information about Peter. Oh, so this is the other thing, you see, he's both his car and his boat are 007 on the this. You're seeing another email that I'm going to read out to what he says that he thinks is like James Bond. He's a bit of a fantasist. Everything's 007. His car, his boat. Now, I'm not sure what this is. He sent me this. I'm trying to think where it is now. I'm not sure what this is. This is something. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is where some court case that he did, that they call into question is that he has no right. So what I would say to any of you who love Peter and think, you know, he couldn't possibly say or do anything wrong, I would ask you, because I can't, because he's blocked me on everything, I would say to you, please ask him, contact him on Twitter, on Facebook, on whatever you follow him on, and ask him what his qualifications are. And if he comes up with evidence of his qualification, remember, you need evidence, just like you want evidence from this guy. You need evidence of what are his qualifications? Or is he self-taught like this guy says he is? Which I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Sometimes people who are self-taught, it's better. But what I'm saying is when he's professing to be an expert, is he? So Mr. Faulding is the chief executive. This was a court case. Something to do with the protesters. Mr. Faulding, you know, I'm not, remember this is Vicky Marie Chats, I'm not into this forensic analysis of everything. I'm sure there's those of you out there who are. You go ahead, do what you want and analyse it and that. We're going to look at the Companies House of Specialist Group International. Again, that could be hieroglyphics to me because I just don't do figures and stuff like that. But there'll be some of you out there that like those kind of things and will sort of go into them and be able to make more sense of them. So he describes him, Mr. Faulding is chief executive of a company called Specialist International Group Limited. He describes himself as a world-leading expert in confined space rescue and asserts that he is one of the only persons able to carry out urgent tunnel assessment. It is common ground that Mr. Faulding was unsuccessful in his bid to undertake the extraction operation for HS2, which is being run by the Net. The defendant strongly challenges Mr. Faulding's expertise, noting that when even asked to do so, he has not disclosed his qualifications, and observing that he's claimed to have been responsible for every successful tunnel removal operation in the UK in the last 25 years is patently incorrect. Now, maybe it is correct. Do you see what I'm saying to you, though? All these assertions that Peter made, you know, he's such an expert, he's a specialist in everything. Where's the evidence of that? You know, you want evidence. You want evidence from the guy that sent me all these things. Good, I agree. But where's Peter's evidence as well? Why do you just accept what Peter says verbatim without any evidence? Anyway, this was a tweet from Mark Williams Thomas that was put out at the time on the 15th of February. I received information this afternoon, and I know this has certainly given rise to questions to the police, as I put specific questions to them that has resulted in further disclosure about Nicola Bulley's vulnerable state. So if you want to know why Nicola's medical records, etc., ended up sort of being discussed, he's the guy behind it, which doesn't surprise me, to be honest. And there they are together, the two mates. Best buddies, aren't they? Brothers from another mother. With the sunglasses. Peter looks much better in his black leather jacket than he does in his high-vis jacket. Looks younger, doesn't he? There you go, MWT and PF. And then he sent me just these headlines from papers, the Manchester Evening News. Police, so that again was the 15th of February. Police say Nicola Bulley had a number of vulnerabilities when she went missing. And of course, that press conference with Rebecca Smith. I do feel for Rebecca, because I do feel the thing about the police is, whether you like them, you don't like them, they did do a load of things wrong. I think everybody would agree with that. They did loads of things wrong. But I do feel that Rebecca, you know, because as we know from videos that we've looked at, that she was pushed into a corner a lot of times. You know, she was always like against the back wall. But anyway, so this again was an article from the 15th of February, Nicola Bulley listed as high risk. So it all started coming out then, because Mark Williams, he was the one who made it all come out. Here's Peter's car. It's not a 007, it's 007. 007 PJF. And the guy who supposedly has written to me, he is one of these men in this photo. I don't know which one it is. You know, you'll have to decide whether you believe it's any of them. I presume if Peter's watching this, he's thinking, oh my God, which one is it? I don't know. But anyway, the man who has sent me these details and things, he claims to be one of the men in this photo. Oh, that was the thing from the anonymous member. So there. So you have to decide whether you think he's genuine or not. What you think, you'll have your thoughts. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is this. Right. This is our favourite psychic, Deborah. I'm going to go, there's more email. There's a couple more emails from the guy, so that I'm going to read out. But I just thought this was a good point to show you this video from our friend Deborah. This is from before the Nicola Bulley case, but we know that Debbie, she was a gibbering wreck, wasn't she, after Peter sent her, for some unknown reason, the supposed photos of Nicola on the bottom of the river. Sent them to this woman. She then did a live crying about them, sobbing. You know, it was so clear. Oh, so clear. And you could see all of it. Oh, my God, you know. Anyway, but this is from Happier Times. this is that they are both involved in this life jacket project, which is a good thing. I'll hold my hands up and say I think it's brilliant that Peter's doing this. And I just thought this came up as I was searching for other things, like things do. And this is a video, I can't see the date on it, but it's from before the Nicola Bulley case, because they've been working on this life jacket project together. But I thought you might like watching this.
Broken Cross Primary in Macclesfield. I can't, I've got to have sunglasses on, sorry, because my eyes are so sensitive with the sun. Let me turn this camera around. Okay. So we have a helicopter landing shortly. So if you're watching, please drop me a comment. Let me know that you're here. So we're at Broken Cross Primary School in Macclesfield. We're here to help with a water safety campaign, and actually we are delivering life jackets to the school that can be used by the children if they're going to go away with their families to a place where there's water, such as a lake, a canal, wherever, and the sea. Then they can borrow a life jacket to take with them and wear so that they're safe. So we have a helicopter landing. My friend Peter Faulding flying it, and he's going to land shortly. And I can't cover on children, so but I'm just going to briefly, so you can see everybody's really, really, really excited. They're all going to see the helicopter come down, and then we're going to do a brief little chat with them all about water safety. Pete just read my Pete. He's just let me know that Peter is somewhere over there. So hopefully he has a safe landing. It's a bit windy, but I'm sure he'll be fine. So yeah, lots of the kids are coming out now, all really, really, really excited. We're delivering 8 life jackets. I can hear him. I can hear him, Pete. Can you see him on the radar? Just circling just over there. Oh, isn't this amazing? Can you hear him, guys, on the live stream? Can you hear him? So yeah, the children will be able to, it's up there. The children will be able to borrow free of charge, and the jackets we're giving them to the school free of charge. They'll be able to borrow a life jacket, and hopefully, just hopefully, you know, by the time this time next year, we've done so many more primary schools. Hopefully, we will have saved some children from, you know, from possibly having a bit of a bad situation in water. This campaign is in memory of Lucas Dobson, a little boy, 6 years old, who sadly lost his life to drowning. So this is why this campaign has been put together by Peter Faulding, who is my friend, and Nathan Dobson, who is Lucas's dad. So here we go. We have Peter landing in a second. I'll also be doing lives on Instagram as well. Anybody who wants to come over and see, just follow Deborah Davis Psychic. You'll find me on Instagram. There we go. I've just zoomed in a bit for you. There we go. Kids are all really excited. Guys, please share the live stream. It's great to get this awareness of the water safety campaign out there. Please share with your friends, share on your timeline. Thank you. Hi, Peter. They're all waiting. Come back. Oh, they're all clapping. Look. Good kind of what a lovely team we've got here. Here we are. For those that are just joining the live stream, passing out for children to hire free of charge to go away anywhere around water. Part of a water safety campaign and just to help stop the loss of lives that we see in this country with children drowning. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all for. So Peter has the life jackets on board. We've got 2 more primary schools to go to today. This is the first one.
Sorry, I just want to stop. I mean, it's like super sonar, isn't it? Coming, because of course he went to St. Michael's in a helicopter as well. You know, he likes to make a I think he is a, you know, with the. I'm not. This is brilliant what he's doing. It's good that he's doing these life jacket and things. But you've got to think about the character of Peter. He likes to show off. You know, he does. He is a boaster. He does. You can't get away from that. Where if you think he's got a good heart, or maybe he has got a really good heart, but he likes to show off. He is a bit of a boaster in that. But anyway, it doesn't matter if he's doing good work here with this campaign. That's good. So, you know, I'm trying to show the nice side of him as well. I don't think he's some terrible person, you know, but I do think with the Nicola Bulley thing, I do think he has not told the truth. That's what I think. I understand why he's done it, because he's trying to save his business. Probably at the end of the day, the way I feel about it is Peter's had a brilliant business for years, hasn't he? Maybe right up to COVID. He's helped out with things. He's had police and fire contracts or whatever he's done. We'll find out more about that in a minute from what this guy says. He's had all those things. And then, of course, it's gone a bit sort of skew-ific. And then he wrote his book, and his book is interesting. A lot of you bought his book. I know a lot of people, you know, bought the book, and it was an interesting read. I watched him talking about the book on James English, etc. I would advise you to watch that. It was really interesting. So, you know, things he's done are interesting. But I do think the Nicola Bulley thing was definitely about publicity, in my opinion. Maybe not, you know, maybe some of you don't think. Do you really think he did it for the goodness of his heart, for the families? What has he done for the family since?
So he's got 3 packets, big bag set of life jackets to give out. So there's my thing. Oh, this headmistress, she's absolutely lovely. I wish I would have had a headmistress like that when I was at school. Honestly. So please share the live stream. It's a water safety campaign, and you know what? It would be really, really nice if we could get this out there, because any schools that want to take part in this, that would like to have the life jackets, to be able to give them to the kids at the school, they need to just get in touch, and we can organise the life jackets coming to you. So shout out to one of my admin if you are part of the school that would love to take part in this, and we can put you on the list to come see you. Peter will come out of the helicopter in a minute when the blades stop going round. But please hit the share button, guys. Share this to groups. Please share it with your friends. Please tag any friends that you think will help with this campaign. And yeah, let's get this out there. So there he is. Hi, Peter. Live on Facebook. Live on Facebook. So brilliant, Magic. Photographic.
Yeah, love that.
Everybody is saying what a fantastic idea this is. It's absolutely brilliant. Life jackets are in the back and everything. And yeah, I'm sure it's.
Now, you know, the kids would love that, won't they? I'm sure the kids would love that helicopter coming, you know, and find it exciting. I hope he let them play on his helicopter, you know, or maybe that, you know, what it's like in the UK these days for health and safety. Maybe they're not allowed to, you know, let the kids sort of clamber over his helicopter or whatever. He certainly, I would imagine, wouldn't be allowed to take him up for a ride, but that'd be quite, I mean, they would have loved that, wouldn't it? If they could have, if he could have given a little ride in his helicopter. But that's probably too much. But anyway, I'm sure the kids love that. Let's just watch it to the end.
Chat now, you know, with the kids. Yeah, Peter is a specialist search person, as in Peter searches and recovers bodies, unfortunately.
Sorry, I don't know why I'm laughing. It's my black humour.
For that process, if anybody's missing. So here we go. We have the life jackets around. Right. I'm going to come off now because I'm going to say hi to all the kids. Okay.
So there you go, little bag of life jackets.
Thank you all. I'll be live with you next school.
So they were going from school to school, so I presume he dropped off a few life jackets. So those life jackets are free to hire. Like, so, you know, obviously they're not given to the kids, but the kids could, if the kids are going out, I suppose, for the day on the river or to the sea, or I don't know. I don't know what the criteria was for renting them, but they could rent them free and put their, you know, if they were going out on a boat in the river. So that's nice. That's lovely. Right. Okay. What we're going to look at next, because right. I think we'll just have a little look at, oh no, let's look at the next email now from the guy. That'd probably be a good idea. So I'm going to read you the email I sent back to him. Oh, I've got to share it. So remember, he's just said, I wanted you to know I'm happy to speak further, but I want to be anonymous as he is a vindictive man. Best wishes. So this is my reply. And, you know, I'm reading out the whole reply. Hi, first, thank you for reaching out and the information you've sent. I totally understand why you want to be anonymous, as I can well imagine Peter could be vindictive, which I could imagine. He states clearly on his website he's approved for police operations in the UK. So I'm not sure why the police don't shut that down, because it insinuates he is on the list. So that is something that I think, I mean, if surely Peter won't be able to put that on his website, you know, saying he's authorised to help the police if he isn't really. So, you know, that's something. But I can't find out. You have probably seen the video where I tried to find out, but for some reason there's secrecy around this. Makes no sense to me why the list is not public, as it is publicly funded. I have no personal grudge against him, but I don't like the way he's gaslit so many people and the disregard he has shown to Nicola's family. I would like to read out the information you've given with your permission, but I will, of course, have to make it clear that it is anonymous. Then people can make their own minds up. So that's what I'm saying to you all the time. This is allegedly, you know, this is not, you know, I'm not saying that this is all true that this guy says until he comes out with more, you know, but he's not going to, he doesn't want to be identified, of course, so I understand that as well. But it is allegedly, just like Peter finding Nicola is allegedly. So I do feel, though, that some people are so determined to believe him, though, that nothing will change their mind. I do think that's like, I think for people who like Peter Faulding, it's just like, oh, white noise. It's like, no, you know, because you don't, you know, people don't want to hear it. It's like a denial. It's like a form of denial. But it's important that people get all sides of the story. Why do you think that now he's deleting and blocking even his own supporters. But it's good to hear from someone who has direct knowledge of him. And Mark Williams Thomas really is not a very nice man, is he? Well, I've often thought that about Mark Williams Thomas, but he just crowned it for me when he turned around and said Oscar Pistorius was innocent. Mark just follows the money. You know, Oscar Pistorius, innocent, for goodness sake, come on. He was found guilty for a start, so he's patently guilty. But, you know, anyone, if you really do think, I think he's probably writing a book or something about Oscar Pistorius. There'd be something in it for Mark to say that. Or maybe he was paid by Oscar, because, of course, Oscar Pistorius' family are really wealthy. Anyway, poor Nicola. Of course, the police themselves did a lot of things wrong, but there is probably a lot they would like to say but can't. Now, we know from the College of Police in Review, the police admitted that they did a lot of things wrong. And there's probably sometimes where they'd like to comment on other things, but they just can't. That's what you've always got to remember about the police. You know, they're not private individuals who can just go around saying what they want. So, with your permission, I will relate this info to my viewers with the disclaimer that it is anonymous information. I won't show the photo that you say you are on, unless you okay it. I don't want him to work out who you are or if one of his minions sees it. Let me know if this is okay and if there is anything you would like to add. Regards, Vicky. So the thing is, he's now, I was a bit unsure about showing that photo of him, well, or what he says is him, in the group. Is one of that group. It could be any one of that group. But you'll see then the email he responded with, he gave permission to do that. Vicky, so this is his reply. Vicky, I'm content that everything I said is truthful, so yes, use anything you want. In my opinion, he's not a very honest guy, although on occasions he seemed to do good things like the life jacket campaign. Motivation-wise, it's probably just to promote himself more. If he had been more transparent from the beginning, he would have come out of this so differently and not hurt so many. Best wishes. Then, so that was a very short reply, and then he later on that day he sent a much longer email with more details. Vicky, so again, I'm just telling you what he said. You've got to make your own mind up about what you believe or you don't believe. Sorry, was in a rush this morning but wanted to give more background, so let me explain about SGI. Previously, it was staffed mainly by ex-military, a few civilians, and lots of freelance workers. Most of the expertise was through the personnel, being divers, climbers, Peter being the least qualified, but as an owner, he didn't need to be. Prior to COVID, it was about 18 strong, which the guys were in a dive team, rope team, and protester removal team. It was pager call out for protesters removal, with Peter having secured a contract with EDF Energy. Surrey County Council had a contract for strike cover for Surrey Fire and Rescue worth £3,000 a year. Peter lost this back in 2016 due to budget cuts, and SGI never actually got used. So he does know a lot of detail. The other contract was at Heathrow, covering protester removal, worth another £3,000 a year. £300,000 a year. This provided a 4-month, you know what I'm like with numbers. This provided a 4-man team, 24/7 for call-outs for protesters. This contract was lost in 2021 during COVID. All the company vehicles were blue light fitted with sirens, and the Surrey Fire Service trained the guys doing a 1-week course for response to be used on call-outs. After losing the fire contract in 2016, we weren't allowed anymore. We continued anyway, as Peter said he had permission from the police. We found out he actually didn't, and we were told to turn everything off a mile before arriving to a job. All of Peter's private vehicles had covert blue lights, which really upset the police as they had complaints. The police contract never existed, but was a method of understanding in that SGI would be called out on any police diving operations. Surrey TVP and a few others not having any dive capabilities. SGI was on the NCA list until the Nicola Bulley case. During COVID, the team was reduced to 3 guys. And you know that, so we're going to have a look at the Facebook page in a minute. There's definitely only a couple of guys in the team now, as all the others were made redundant. As a result of this, SGI could not cover the police call-out so well, nor the EDF contract, which were the only work they had. Subsequently, on the NB dive sonar job, he had to call in freelancers to cover. It was after this job that the police finally decided enough was enough and terminated the contract. Now, he's putting a lot of detail in there. That's what I would say. So he seems to know a lot about it, or maybe none of it's true. If it's not true, anyone who knows any different, please let me know if you think it's different. Qualifications. Oh, so SGI only now has only has EDF energy as a means of work. This is just a call out if required. In 10 years, there has never been a call out. Now, if that's not true, somebody let me know that. Qualifications aside, it was apparent from the onset. Qualifications side. It was apparent from the onset that despite Peter's numerous boasts, he never had any qualifications in anything except being a basic HSE diver or commercial pilot. He used to show us a video and lecture of all his previous jobs, but they were mostly 1980s or 90s. Peter certainly had an impressive record of jobs back in those days, but we couldn't ever figure out how he got them. Well, he got them by sitting in a room and all. Do you remember? You know, Peter comes from an era, and you'll remember, well, if you've watched my videos, you will remember I have said that. He comes from an era where they probably all just, you know, it's like smoke-filled rooms, making deals, you know, it's who knows who. The world's changed. The world's changed, and unfortunately for people like Peter, the world has changed. And Mark Williams, you know, it's like he was in the police force, I don't know how many years ago, 20 years. I worked for Ladbrokes 40 years ago. Does that mean I know all about the betting industry now? You know, you've got to think times change and things move on. I do think this is what's happening. I sort of, the more I think about this now, I start to sort of worry about his company, really, because how is it, you know, how is it going to survive? Anyway, I mean, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe he's got an independent source of money, but yeah. Anyway, listen to the rest of this. So we discovered a folder in his office which had lots of letters and a few certificates. The letters were thanks from senior police officers dated in the 1990s, and the certificates were a forensic awareness day with Surrey Police. This is an afternoon course for special constables, giving them some insight into what SOCO, I don't know what SOCO is, but what SOCO do. It's very, very basic, and it's to stop them making basic mistakes at a potential crime scene. PF suggested in numerous interviews, etc., he was a forensic expert. This is clearly stretching the truth considerably. PF using side-scan sonar and ground penetration sonar. He purchased these back in the 2000s, the older ones back in the 1990s. To date, he's never received any training. Now, these are his allegations, not mine. Disclaimer for me, I'm not saying this. This is what the person's saying. If it's not true, you know, it seems very detailed to not be true, to be honest. He is self-taught. From my experience, having seen him using, he has a basic grasp of capabilities and doesn't really use or know the full functionality. Again, in one interview, I think it was FHM online, he suggested he was a previous sonar operator. This is untrue. He suggests he trained the Secret Service, FBI, etc., has shown photos at the FBI Academy. We learned that actually he was there on holiday and he went as a tourist back in the 1990s. Sorry, I'm just like, it may not be true. I'm just laughing because it makes me, I could just, because you can, of course, go around the FBI as a tourist. I think I'm going to go get my picture taken there and say, you know, I'm a forensic specialist for the FBI. Anyway, the MB case really brought to light how badly SGI performed on the days. And the issue was always Peter used to turn up, things would go sideways. On previous jobs, he would frequently walk off, start doing his own investigations with attending police officers at the scene, asking what he was doing, where he was. He was convinced he could solve the case, or there was some missing factor he could detect. It was always a bit of a joke with the guys. We thought he was a massive Walter Mitty, but he paid the wages, so we just laughed away from him. The police teams knew him and would always ask if he was going to turn up, and they would be happy if he didn't. He definitely, the police, for whatever reason, that he was persona non grata with the police, wasn't he? I don't know what the reason was, but I think that's definitely true. Subsequently, from the Nicola Bulley case, nationally, the police knew they made a lot of errors on the Nicola Bulley case. What was obvious too was that they allowed Peter to take centre stage, and that is true, fair enough. Peter took centre stage and he was allowed to do it, and that is the police's fault, really. Causing a lot of damage to the case, harm to the family, harm to the police reputation. I think the police deserved a lot of criticism, I agree, due to their lack of control and handling. They did cock it up. And, you know, I'm not defending the police, they did cock it up. As a result, they did throw a lot of criticism at Peter and they threw him off operations. Fair or not, they felt betrayed and upset by Peter's actions and his many comments. A National Police Search advisor told us confidentially, Peter will never ever be considered again, nor SGI for any police operations. I think Peter is now left to try and save his company with a badly dented reputation. Reputation. I do feel, sorry, my voice is going to after plenty of liquids. I do feel, had he acted differently during Nicola Bulley and after, he would have come out much better. Yeah, and that was it. That was best wishes he put, but now that's the last contact I've had with him. I'm worried about closing everything down. Don't want to press the wrong button. So, yeah, that's what he says. That's what he says. And everyone has to make their own mind up. The thing is, what you've got to think about is when we hear that Peter is an expert and a forensic specialist, and who says that? Who except Peter says that? You know, and where is this confirmation of the images? You know, from this is that. Where is Peter's evidence? So it's not only. If somebody, I think Peter, you know, he's been very successful in making it seem like he's an expert in this, that, and the other. Anyway, I don't want to criticise him too much like that. So what I want to look at now is the website, his website, or shall I look at the Facebook, his Facebook first? So what that, to me, the guy, what he's saying is so detailed to me. I think that gives it credence because it's very detailed. You know, it's just not just someone sort of writing saying, oh, Peter Faulding's an idiot and blah. He's putting a lot of detail in there as if he does know what he's talking about, whoever he is. Whoever he is, there's a lot of detail in there. Right, what am I going to? I'm going to the Facebook. Right, I need to put some windows down so I don't get confused. Banners, I've spoke to you about banners, haven't I? So there's a lot of windows that have opened up about banners and Peter's work with Banas Mahmood, you know, and I don't think I'm going to have time to talk about that. I'm going to talk about that in another video. So what we're going to look at, yeah, we're going to look at the Facebook group of Specialist Group International. Right, I'm there. So I think what the person was saying about the reduction in the staff in Specialist Group International is true. Because when you look at their Facebook group, all the posts, sorry, I've got to go right back up to the beginning. So Specialist Group International, this is their Facebook group. So they've got a lot of vehicles. And of course, the profile picture is him holding the knife up that he found. But a lot of their posts, they're always doing this team training on the ropes. There's a lot of that. And there's only a couple of them. So there's not as many of them as there were. And then we've got the life jackets on the 21st of May. The Lucas Dobson Water Safety Campaign. And it says this campaign is now funded solely by my company, Specialist Group International. And there's a link there. Let's just have a look at that. Oh, I mean, this is really sweet because this is Lucas Dobson, who drowned on the 17th of August in 2019. And that is what this life jacket thing is all about. So that is really, really sweet. And, you know, that's good. It's good. Okay, so going back. So there's a life jacket thing. And then, yeah, Specialist Group International, proud supporters of our emergency services and our military. But see, is there only 3 of them now? There, so is that guy true what he said when he said that there used to be before COVID a lot and now there's only 3? There never seems to be. Is that Peter? Peter's doing his I think that's Peter, is it? Or is it? I don't know if it is. But yeah, they're always going up and down ropes. Oh, they're doing a bit of diving there on the 11th of April. So look, I don't know if that was to do with Ziello, was it? There you go. Yeah, they were doing a bit of diving there. Oh, I mean, it's a horrible job diving for bodies. I mean, it must be awful. You know, really awful. The result is going to be that you're going to come across a dead body. I mean, God, ugh, horrible. But someone's got to do it. Okay. Oh, there's his boat with the 007 on it. More climbing up and down ropes, training. And then, of course, there was the talk about Cielo. So it was in March. Now, he says they spent 5 days assisting Leicestershire police. But, of course, the guy who's been in touch with me said they only were there for 3 days. And then, but they certainly didn't stay because the media coverage didn't, continue. So 5 days is not much. But, of course, see, I was thinking, oh, well, they've got to get on with other jobs and stuff. But what other jobs do they have to get on with? So he said, do you think they'll ever find Cielo? Now you feel that Cielo is only going to be found by somebody literally walking by the river and just seeing his clothes there or finding some bones or something. It's awful, really, really awful, because nothing has been done since then. Yeah. So, yeah, they don't seem to be going out diving much and stuff, do they? So a lot about Cielo, a lot of posts about Cielo when they were... so this is where... So it was the 26th of February when they were allowed to go after the sort of campaign by the fanboys and girls, etc. They're allowed to go and look for Cielo. Anyway, it's a shame. Oh, so this is they shared on Specialist Group International. See, he was like trying to wind it all up. 4 days ago, the control room at Specialist Group International was contacted by the family of Cielo, the missing 2-year-old little boy in the River Soar, asking for our assistance. And Marie Smith, that is Cielo's grandma. And she put this post out, which is what seemed, and the mother did as well. God knows what they think about it all now. As it has now come to day 7 since the tragic accident happened, we as a family would like to thank everyone for all your support. But then it says, we as a family have been in contact with Peter Faulding and the Specialist Group International. And we feel that having SGI would be an invaluable resource of help. Which is true. I mean, I don't blame them for that, and I don't blame, the more hands, the merrier. But, it just shows that the police, I do feel like Peters cast this sort of doubt on the ability of the police, to find bodies and things like that. But if they can be found, the police do have experts that can find them. They might not have them in one particular police force, but they've got other people they've got other resources they can call on. They don't only have to call Peter. He's trying to make out he's the only person that can help in these cases, and that's what that's where I think I don't like it, because it's not true. It's not true. He is not the only person, and his company is not the only company. But so anyway, it seems that one thing that the guy says is true. There's not so many people at the Specialist Group International as there used to be, that's for sure. But, COVID affected a lot of businesses, didn't it? So these are sort of posts they put on. Look like they're having fun there. Anyway, they were doing training. Looks a bit staged to me, to be honest. Okay. Anyway, that's the Facebook page. What we're going to look at now is the company's house. Now, I don't understand anything about company's house. I'm rubbish with all these kind of things. So I don't know if they're doing well, they're not doing well. In fact, what I would say to anybody who is good with this kind of thing, if you're really interested in how Specialist Group International is doing, go on to the company's house and have a look, because as I say, I really don't understand. But all I do know is they've got some outstanding charges, but I don't, that might be common, that might be normal. That just might be normal. Somebody tell me if it is or it's not. No, I have no idea. No idea. But on here you can get the filing history. You know, it's all sort of public, isn't it? What people are involved, if there's any charges, and if they've been paid or they haven't been paid. But I don't really understand what they are. So I would advise anyone who is interested, because I know from emails that I get, and people send me emails about Company House. I've got a lot of those about Paul Ansell, and but it's like I'm not the person to send them to, because it just means nothing to me whatsoever. It's just like, oh, okay, I don't understand how companies work. I don't figures just go over my head. So if you do really want to know how Specialist Group International is doing, go on to the Company House website. So that's all I'm really going to show on there, because I can't comment on it because I don't understand it, and I wouldn't pretend to understand it. Oh, now I want to go onto the website now. So this is what they say on the website. Specialist Group International has the only private underwater forensic search team which is approved for police operations in the UK. Now, if you remember, that's why I was thinking, well, is he back on the list? How can you put that on your website if it's not true? But then that guy that emailed me is saying that it's not true. So I don't know. What do you think? Is it true or isn't it true? I am lost with that. I have no idea if it's true or not that they are authorised by the police. They say they are on the website. I would imagine that if you weren't, you know, you wouldn't be able to say that, would you? Now, it's quite interesting, his website, because then you've got the press links, you know, all different interesting things that Peter and Specialist Group International have got up to, successful things or just cases that they've worked on. So that's an interesting read as well. So I would advise anyone to go on there and have a look through all the different things that he's been involved with. So, you know, good, you know, it's like good that he's doing that, trying to be sort of, you know, show you the good things he's done. Now in the galleries, in the video gallery, that's interesting, because look, you know, this is my favourite video of Peter. It always makes me giggle, just like in trying to get into this bag. But let's have a look at this. It does make me giggle. Sorry, Peter. Sorry. Wasn't it 200 times he was supposed to have tried to get? I'll tell you what, that will always tickle me thinking of him 200 times trying to get in that bag. Oh, dear. I mean, he's never going to get into that bag with that suit on and the waistcoat and everything, is he? I think he was naked, the guy, wasn't he, when he went in? It wasn't it? I mean, I have done videos on this, though. Having said that, do you know what? They all got sort of demonetized and what have you. There's a definite, as soon as you mention Gareth Williams' name on a video, it's, you know, it's like they don't like it. But yeah, I think Gareth was actually nude when he went in it. But one of the videos that I did, there was a girl got in it really easily, wasn't there? There was a young girl got in it really easily. But you know, it's this. There's a few, you know, in our times, there are always enduring mysteries, aren't there? Started off with who is Jack the Ripper. We still don't know who Jack the Ripper was. Then, you know, other sort of enduring mystery cases like Madeleine McCann. Nicola Bulley will be an enduring mystery, even though it's not a mystery because there's been the inquest in that. Gareth Williams. You know, there are certain cases in our history, if you like, that you just feel they'll never be solved completely. Oh, so apparently can you hear me now? Apparently the sound went off. Hang on. Let me try and find it. Can you hear me now that I'm talking? You can hear me speaking. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why. It just went off on the video. Let me just try again.
Inquest that there is no way Williams could have locked himself inside the bag without leaving evidence. Using the same model of North Face bag and a similar type of tub, he shows us why.
So for Gareth to actually get into the bag, he's got to step over, even if he stepped over.
And he's roughly your height.
I'm 5'6", he's 5'7".
Right.
I'm
Okay,
slightly
don't matter.
stockier.
We've more or less seen it all now, but yeah, it's probably Peter turning the volume down. Saying, "Oh, get that Vicky Marie like playing my video, making fun of me getting in a bag." I'm going to turn the volume down. No, I'm only joking. But anyway, it's more or less we'd seen it then. But yeah, go on Peter's website, because actually there are some really interesting videos on it. Oh, no, let's watch this actually.
Gareth Williams, the intelligence officer whose body was found in a bag. For days now, the inquest has been tracing his final movements. A central question: did he get inside the bag himself, or was he put there? Today, there was evidence, including this video from experts. Here, Peter Faulding shows how difficult it is to climb into a bag in a bathtub and close it, especially without leaving any significant traces. Mr. Williams was either placed in the bag unconscious, or he was dead before he was in the bag, said Mr. Faulding. The experts looked at whether the bag could be locked from inside, for instance, by pushing the lock out. One witness said he tried 100 times, another 3.
See, somebody there has got in it quite easily by the look of it, but they had a problem locking it. They got in it okay. But of course, there was a padlock on the outside, wasn't there, that was locked. So not sure how they did that.
300 times, neither managed it. One said it might be theoretically possible. The other said even Houdini would struggle. The inquest today heard this call to police from Gareth's employers, made after he failed to turn up to work for a week at MI6.
I wanted to report one of our members of staff who lives and works in London is missing.
When police entered his flat in Pimlico, in the top bathroom they found a red sports bag. Gareth Williams's body was found curled up inside the bag.
I mean, was that the real bathroom? Because it was really dirty, wasn't it? Let's have a look. It looked dirty, or is it just me? Look at that. Is that dirty, or is it just the
Gareth Williams's body was found curled up, found a red sports bag.
Look.
Gareth Williams's body was found.
Surely that can't be the bathroom they lived in, but anyway, maybe it was.
Curled up inside the bag in a fetal position, with no sign of him having struggled to get out. Inside and underneath him was a set of keys for the padlock. But the bag was padlocked on the outside in a way experts found impossible to recreate from inside the bag. The police have said that from early on they thought someone else was involved in Gareth Williams's death here at his flat. Today's evidence does seem to point to that, but it's still not clear who it might have been. These photographs show tests on how long someone could survive with limited air in a bag. An expert reckoned not more than half an hour. When police examined phones and computers found in Gareth Williams's flat, they found a large amount of material on women's high fashion, as well as traces of a small number of visits to websites looking at bondage and people tied up. The inquest is expected to finish hearing evidence next week. Gordon Carrera, BBC News.
Okay. Anyway, so all those things that are interesting, they can be found on Peter's website. But I've got one more thing to read out for you. Now, I said to you earlier that while I was sort of researching this video, I'm getting knackered now, to be honest. I found this Spanish article that I'm going to show you, because I thought it was interesting. Because sometimes you get things from a slightly different perspective. So this was when Peter was called in to look for Cielo. Peter looks so much better in black, doesn't he? I mean, he looks almost sort of attractive there, better than in his high-vis jacket and that, and this black leather. I mean, it does. He looks nice. Anyway, so Cielo Maruziva. Oh, sorry, I won't read it in Spanish. I'll just translate it into English. A small boy disappeared after falling into the River Soar while he was with his family in Islestone Meadows on the 18th of February. Now, don't forget, we still don't know, the exact circumstances. The police say they've got CCTV of Cielo falling in the river. If we were in America, you could, ask to see that CCTV or... not that I want to see Cielo falling in the river, but you know what I mean. Why is everything so secret? Just got the police saying, oh yeah, it's definitely an accident, but we don't get any evidence of that. It's just and then since then, we don't know what was the father still with the mother was, you don't, the thing is, people might say it's none of our business, but it is the public's business when you bring it to the public's attention by putting it on the news and asking people for help and doing this, that, and the other. You're involving the public. You can't just then turn around and say, oh, but you're never going to get to know what happened there. That is what it's like in Britain. Do you remember there was that really weird occurrence, wasn't there, when something happened on a boat somewhere, and we never found out what happened there, where this boat seemed to people were injured or even killed with it, but we never found out exactly what happened. Was it a boat crash? Or was it a shark? I mean, was it a bomb? We just don't know. That it was all over the news 1 minute, and then the next minute it's just like, oh, that's gone now. Forget about that. Don't ask any questions. No, you're never going to find out what really happened. And that's how it feels with Ziello. It's like, well, how did he fall into the water? Where is his dad? That you've never. Apparently, his dad jumped into the water after him and was then had to go to hospital for the night, didn't he? But he didn't die of cold water shock like Nicola Bulley did, but he had to go to hospital. Cielo was never found. Did someone find Cielo and just bloody kidnap him and take him home? I mean, who knows? This drives me mad about Britain, you know, it's this secrecy. Anyway, now this was 2 weeks after Cielo went missing. So despite the desperate attempt of his father to save him, throwing himself in the water, the boy has still not been found. And so the search for Cielo now has entered in its second week. This is what this article is saying. So the Leicestershire Police, with the support of specialised teams, diving teams from Fuerzas Vecinas, like local forces, have been leading the search. However, from today or up to today, also have joined in the operation the experts from Specialist Group International. So Specialist Group International, a private company, were previously involved in the search for Nicola Bulley in the River Wyre in Lancashire last year. The decision to involve them was taken after discussions with other specialists and Ziello's family. After the search for Mrs. Bulley, or Miss Bulley, or they say Mrs. Bulley, but of course it's not, but there was a revision in the El Manejo de la Investigación. So in the leadership of the investigation by the police, which brought up worries over the behaviour and the activities of the director of SGI, Peter Faulding. In one interview, Mr. Faulding affirmed that he had found the body of Miss Bulley in 6 minutes after the search of the beginning of the search. However, the credibility of these affirmations was questioned by Andy Marsh, the boss or the head of the College of Police. Two independent experts concluded that the object, or the target, I suppose we'd say, detected by Specialist Group International probably was not a body, after the area had been searched 3 times. As a result, Mr. Faulding was eliminated from the list of experts, or police experts, a decision that was he considered unjustified and that had destroyed his reputation. So the sub-director of the Leicestershire Police, Michaela Kerr, expressed her gratitude for the support that they have received from the población, from the public, and the colleagues from other agencies. She assured the public that the operation of the search to find Cielo was in course and would be expanded. But it's been disbanded now. I mean, we're nearly in June now. So nobody's looking for Cielo now. I mean, it's horrible, really. And it's possible that it had travelled further from when he had entered the water, potentially out of the jurisdiction of their force. So they had made coordinated searches in various points on the length of the river in an effort to find the disappeared boy. Specialist diving teams from other forces and teams of search and rescue of all the region and the country continue to support the officials of the Leicestershire Police in their search for Cielo. And the decision to involve SGI in the search was taken in consultation with the family of Cielo, and afterwards discussions with the company and independent specialists. It's important to have in mind that the river is dangerous and the public should not try to get into the water themselves. So during the weekend, the search centred in the flow of the river around Watermead Park and Birstall, according to the police. Parents of Cielo had described him as a naughty and funny boy that brought joy to their lives. They are devastated by his disappearance and grateful for the support they've received during this difficult moment. Their only desire, oh God, my voice is completely going now. Their only desire is that Cielo should be found as soon as possible. So I just thought I'd read you that because I thought it was interesting. Spanish article about it. Okay, that's it. That's it. I hope you found that all interesting. It's quite long, quite a lot of talking. Quite a lot of talking. Oh, my poor little voice. I need to gargle with something. I don't know. Okay, so I hope you found that interesting. You'll all have your own views on the guy, if he's, really an ex-employee of Peter, or what he's saying is true or not. You'll all have your views. We've all got our views. I think he comes over as sort of, there's a lot of detail there that I think you wouldn't know if you didn't know anything. He knows something about Peter, that's for sure. But whether it's true or not, I don't know. So, okay. So as always, remember to live and love carefully and wisely. I will be back tomorrow, I expect. Thank you. I'm glad. I just hope it's interesting. You just provide you with the information, and who knows? Who knows where only Peter knows the truth, really, about as far as the images are concerned. But Peter, just like everybody's asking for evidence from the guy who says he worked with you, you should be not showing us the evidence. We don't want to see the images, although you keep sending them to everyone. It's not that. I just want to see proof that they've been verified by an expert. That's all I want to see. But I don't think I never thought I was ever going to see it anyway, but I'm pretty certain now I'm not. But anyway, thank you so much. Take care. And as always, till I see you again, may your God go with you. Don't forget to like, please, and subscribe, of course. Thank you.